So you'll see here a mind map shows us kind of the overview of what's covered in this particular lecture. And there's two things we're going to talk about with chapter 1 out of both books. The digital foundations, which is kind of an overview of the internet and the web. Okay, so if you're very comfortable with this content, this will be a quick read for you. You don't have to memorize all of these specific dates. That's not really what I'm after. It's just kind of bringing up the playing field for everyone to be even. So some people will have more experience than others. So we're going to just talk about some terminology that is important in the first chapters there. So that's the digital foundations. And then we're going to jump right into, okay, let's evaluate a website. How can we assess whether or not a website is doing a good job for a company or firm? So this is extremely important for when we start talking about our projects. So you're going to be looking at a website or looking at a company and trying to assess the success of their digital strategy. And the website is definitely a key component of that. So let's begin. Now, I'm not going to do, by the way, an entire lecture because this is 3 hours of content and we'd have interactions within the classroom. I am going to just kind of highlight key areas in this mind map, so you still are responsible to go through it on your own. Make sure as you're going through the readings you refer to the mind map, and you'll see what I believe is important that I've pulled out of the readings, because I do them too. Okay, so let's begin. So let's talk about digital foundations. What is this whole thing, the internet? Well, to begin with, we have the history of the internet here. And I've put down a couple of key dates out of the list of, I think there was 40 key dates there. It was something ridiculous, but here we go. Let's go right back to the beginning. So in the beginning, in the 1960s, the internet was actually created by the United States, and it was created by the Department of Defense. And the reason they put the internet in play was because they were worried about a nuclear attack and having it take down all the telecommunication systems, all the phone lines. So if a nuclear bomb hit Chicago and they were calling from New York to San Francisco, it would have to go through the telephone relay switches in Chicago, and well, that would be a mess. So they created this internet as a way to kind of traverse the communications network, and it is set up kind of like a spider web. So if one part of the web goes down, you can still kind of wander around and still make it from point A to point B. And so that's kind of the beginning of the internet, and they called it something. Advanced Research Projects Agency called it the ARPANET. Okay, in 1969, and the killer application at that time was email. That's what blew people's minds at that time, and because there wasn't a web on top of this. There wasn't a browser that you could type www.cnn.com. Well, CNN wasn't around then, but you couldn't actually use the internet like you and I are used to doing it now. Email was the killer app. So instead of sending a physical mail envelope, then hey, we can use digital email. So that was kind of cool. TCP/IP is the language of the internet. That's what allows things to be transferred from one area to another. The NSF stands for National Science Foundation. So after the military saw how pervasive people wanted to use this, or how many different areas they wanted to use this technology, they turned it over, the United States government turned it over to the National Science Foundation, because they have more of an educational, academic bent to them. And so they had some money, and they continued to invest in it. The first Canadian broadcast that is credited is Peter Mansbridge on CBC in 1993 talking about the internet. Thought that was kind of interesting. So here is, oh, by the way, in 95 it was privatized, so now nobody owns it. The US no longer owns it. But think about that. That's only like 20 some years ago that it was US owned and created. And then it wasn't privatized and made global with global ownership or control until 95. So the growth of the internet's been huge, obviously. Look at this graph. This goes to 2012 and it just keeps going up. And this is number of internet web hosted sites, and it's in what, 900 million at that point in 2012. So we got 1 billion websites out there. And think about how many pages and other things that are also like images and things like that. Okay, so we can see the internet started at its grassroots as military. It's now pervasive around the world. The growth has been phenomenal. But really, the growth there largely was due to this thing called the web, the World Wide Web. And the World Wide Web allows us to display hypertext, meaning I can open up a web page, click on a link, and go to a different web page. And that whole principle is the basis of what we now type into our browsers, HTTP forward slash or backslash, I keep forgetting, and you type in a web address. So that is hypertext, and it was conceptualized way back here in 1945 and 1960, but it really came about with the Netscape web browser in 1994, and then we've just continually gotten better as time has progressed. So now this is an important part. We can even bold that one. Okay, the differences between what we call Web 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. So I'm just going to display this branch of the tree. So Web 1.0, companies saw the internet in the late 90s and said, we should be on there. But it's really part of our typical marketing plan. It's one of the 4 Ps. We'll call it promotion, and we'll put our brochure up there just so we have a place. And that's called the static web. There was nothing about interactivity there. It was just about, hey, let's just throw our brochure online. Web 2.0 in the early 2000s, about 2004 or 5, that really focused on people, and that was the dynamic or user-generated content web. That was all about people creating content and uploading content. So that's where you got people blogging. That's where you got people uploading pictures to the internet and discussing on forums. And it really became a people's tool as opposed to organizations. Now, Web 2.0 is also where we are today, because that's all the social media sites. Social media takes advantage of what we call Web 2.0 technologies. So we still have Web 2.0 going on today, and that's about again, the interactivity on social media, people, person to person. Web 3.0 it has been kind of developed since 2012 and is still ongoing, and that's really taking the World Wide Web and making it a business data application platform. So that when you search for things, let's say you search for a product, all of the properties of that product, all of the color, the size, the fabric, the location, the units, all of the data that describes that product, all the characteristics of that product are embedded into that product's, let's say, picture or on that website. And so we just have all of this data that can be searched, it can be categorized, it can be sorted, it can be filtered, which is fantastic. So you've got all this kind of this automation possibility where you can send a search spider out onto the web and pull back just the information that you want, more so than even today. So that's the automated or the data web, Web 3.0. And there is examples of it so far, but it's not pervasive yet. Movement to the deep web or the dark web, okay? So now the dark web or deep web, they're two different things, but for our purposes, what that describes are all the website pages that Google doesn't index. So a lot of things are behind what we call paywalls or behind a firewall that Google just can't index them. It can only index the public sites. So we talk about the deep and dark web as the sites that Google doesn't know about. And because Google doesn't know about it, some of those activities that can occur on it can be dark. That's why it's called certain areas the dark web. where, illegal activities. Let's just leave it at that. So the growth of the web has been like this. Look at the sharp uptake. So that's kind of when social media traffic really took off. And so that's like 2009, 2010. So you think about digital marketing, really it's only been about the last 7 years that we've had this capability to really use the Web 2.0 technologies in digital marketing. And so we really now have everybody online that we probably want to contact, and including customers, suppliers, and employees. So key internet technologies are available here. IP address. So an IP address is how you're located on the internet. You get an IP address so that we know who you are or where you're coming from. Every router has an IP address. So that TELUS box or Shaw box that you have in your house has an IP address associated to it, and that allows company or corporate websites to track you. They know where you're coming from, your IP address. I know where your browser is located. But when we actually type in a website name, we don't use the IP address because that would take way too long. We use the URL, so Uniform Resource Locator. And so there's different parts to this URL. The protocol, HTTP Hypertext Protocol. The subdomain is the front part. Here is www, but it might be store.something or shop.something or some other blog.something. Here's the actual domain that you purchase, computerhope.com. And there could be some directories, and then finally a web page at the end. Okay, so know the differences between a protocol, a subdomain, and the actual domain. Those are the important parts. And the book describes these a little bit further, so you can do your own research. Key web technologies, well, definitely the browser is an important part of this. You have to be able to view all of the content, so you need a browser capable of doing that. Web servers and hosts to host your website is an important thing. And now Hypertext Transfer Protocol is important. That S at the end of this one, HTTPS, that stands for secure. And what that means is that all the traffic that goes between your browser and the website is encrypted. And more websites are using this to verify their identity to potential customers, which is a trust factor. So your customers want to trust your website, and so a lot of websites are moving to fully encrypted traffic. So you might see HTTPS in all of your website traffic instead of just the shopping area. Because it used to be if I'm putting in a credit card or filling out a form, it would be secure, but not if I was just browsing their actual site. But we're seeing more and more go to the secure option. Hypertext markup language is the language of building web pages, so that's important as well. And let's move down to interactivity and personalization. So how does a company know who you are, and how are they going to serve you better the next time you visit their website? Well, partially it's cookies. Okay, so every time you visit a website, that website can drop a cookie, which is a small text file, onto your computer. And cookies aren't really dangerous. They're not really going to do anything negative to your browsing experience. They're not going to carry any virus or anything like that. However, they do track you. So that if you don't want to be tracked, you can clean your cookies. And I provided a link here to a product called CC Cleaner, which will clean your cookies if you're concerned about privacy and you don't want to be tracked by marketers. A lot of this technology is based on JavaScript. So through JavaScript, a company will know what type of browser you're on, if you're using a tablet, if you're browsing on a phone, if you've got Chrome or Firefox or some other browser. So JavaScript gives it the capability to reach into your system and pull out some information, which is kind of interesting. So I would know that, 50% of the people coming to my website are Mac users. Well, that might be an important thing to know. And server-side logs, so I keep logs of all the traffic, and then I can perform analytics. So I can use either a Google Analytics suite or Piwik or some other web trends type thing, and I can perform analytics to see where people are coming from around the world. Actually, I can pinpoint it quite geographically tightly by region, as well as other demographics of where you've searched before, who you've purchased from in the past. So I have the ability to track your journey through the web, basically. More and more people, because of this and because of the privacy concern, are going to online advertising blockers like uBlock. So that's my favorite here. So if you want to see uBlock, it tracks some of the advertisers from providing or from securing information from your system. So that's important technology. Let's move on to the website objectives. So this is from primarily the Stu Kent chapter. So there's a few really important or key concepts here. First of all, how do websites earn money? So here are 4 different ways that a website can earn money. There probably are more, but here are the 4 main categories. I can sell things from my website, such as Dell does. Definitely, I can earn money that way. Advertising. I can advertise other people's companies on my website. This link is to The Onion, which is a magazine, online magazine. I can earn commissions from sales on my website. And that's, for example, I put Expedia there. So every time you purchase a hotel through Expedia, Expedia gets a commission. And I can have subscriptions like Netflix. Okay, so those are the 4 main ways. If somebody is setting up a website and you're saying, okay, so what's your goal? What's your objective? Is it to sell, advertise, earn commissions, or is it a subscription-based site? That's kind of the first question that you're going to ask this company. Why else might you want a website? Well, I've provided several reasons here. It may be just to provide customer information, to educate your customers. It may be to just blog about something. You may want just a vanity site so your name is up in lights or something like that. So there are some different reasons as well to have a website. It's not just all about money. Okay, so there's 3 questions or areas that we want to investigate when we're evaluating a website. Okay, so generating traffic is kind of the first step. We're saying, okay, well, how much traffic is this website getting, and how is that traffic coming? Like, why are people coming to this website? Where did they get access to it? How do they know about it, etc.? Then driving conversions. Once they're on the website, how do we convert them to doing something, whether it be spending money, buying a product, clicking on an advert, subscribing, giving us an email? There's many different types of conversions. It's not just selling. There's other ways that we can convert customers. And then earning a revenue. So if I convert that customer and I'm only getting $10 every conversion or every sale, how do I up that to maybe $15 as an average purchase, or maybe $150? Maybe it's I have to add some add-on products or upgrade them or do something else. So it's kind of that 3-step thing. First, I need traffic to my website. Then I have to convert them to do something I want them to do. And then I need to look at what types of revenue I'm earning from each conversion. And a good example of that we can look at is Amazon. So let's just kind of go in a deep dive here. So there's 3 ways you can generate traffic. People will come to your website by just typing in your URL. So how many of us just type in CNN.com or YouTube.com or Amazon.com, okay? So direct URL entry or URL, and this is also bookmarked links, if you've bookmarked a link or something like that. Okay, we can also click on referral links. So you might be reading an article and it refers to CNN.com, and so you click the link in the article. That's called a referral link. There's other types of referral links too. Paid links are, say, online advertising like a banner ad or some other advertisement. And affiliate links, so people that, for example, on a YouTube channel, often in the notes underneath the YouTube video, they'll have a link to the products they're talking about. And that's an affiliate link. So they get a commission if you purchase the product from that link. Unpaid or earned are just mentions within a blog or email or social media or something like that. And then we have search engines. Now, search engines aren't just Google and Bing, okay? Here we're talking about Expedia, we're talking about shopbot.ca or something for shopping. So it's any site that you search for information on. And so where does it appear? Where does your result appear on a search engine result page? And you could have paid AdWords or keywords, something called snack packs, which we'll look at further on in the course. And so you can pay to have your advertisement appear or your link appear on a search engine results page. And this has to do with pay-per-click advertising as well. And we'll look at AdWords in depth later on. You could have unpaid organic search results. So you may show up on Google and not have paid a dime, but your website has great content. It's optimized for search engines. It's called SEO. And so Google is indexing it and saying, hey, this is probably what the customer is looking for, so I'll display it highly on the rankings. So that's important. And there's various search engine examples we can look at too. Okay, conversions. I've provided a table of the conversions here from the readings. So you can see the website type, a retail e-commerce site, their primary thing that they'd be looking at in terms of conversions is probably a purchase, probably an actual sale. But a secondary conversion might be, oh, we want somebody to create an account. Even if they don't buy anything, if they create an account, that's a good conversion as well. So you'll see I've got two columns, primary and secondary. So a search engine such as Expedia might just want a booking because then they earn a commission. Or secondarily, if you clicked on an ad, they're making money from an affiliate link maybe. And various other options here as well. So you can see that conversions are not just purchases, they're also engagement with the customer, creating accounts, signing up for an email newsletter, things like that. And then earning revenue, we're looking at how to increase the revenue per conversion. And so you'll see here, what is your revenue per conversion and how can you improve it? And it's called your wallet share. How do I improve how much of that wallet I'm getting of that customer? So if they've got 30 bucks in there, I want at least 20 of it. Okay. So retail, we could, if that was our website, increase the average order value, or that could be a goal of ours. Lead generation, improve the conversions to buying. So it's a lead, so they're going to buy in the future, but maybe we just have to increase that turnover, make sure they're converting a lot sooner. And other things here as well that you can take a look at that are in the chapter. Okay, so as you can see there's some important content in that branch for looking at analyzing websites. And so I'm just going to pull up the PowerPoint for the Amazon example. And so if we looked at analyzing the success, of Amazon, you can see here that I've gone through those three main steps. Okay, so first of all, how do they make money? And then, okay, generate traffic. So how are they generating traffic? Well, through direct entry, we recognize the Amazon name. We see their name on boxes. We have their mobile app. We know we're part of an Amazon Prime membership. Their brand name is easy to remember. It's easy to type in. And they also do through paid referrals. The Amazon Associates is a great affiliate program. If you have a blog, you can link to products that you talk about in your blog and earn money when people purchase something. And that's up to 30 days down the road. They don't even have to purchase right away. You'll still earn money if they buy it 20 days later, which is kind of nice. We can generate traffic through unpaid referrals. Facebook likes, for example. Now, generating traffic from search, like if you notice here, if I type in Kindle Fire, Amazon has the top ranking here because it's ad promoted, but it also has the top, what we call organic ranking, which is unpaid. So Google knows that Amazon, if you're searching for Kindle Fire, Amazon is the go-to result for most customers, because Google really wants to serve its customers well. So by doing the best job of pulling in information for you, you'll use Google instead of moving over to something like Bing. So that's important to note here. So obviously Amazon's doing a good job. Even when you say buy, Google knows when people are buying that they probably want to go to an e-commerce site. And guess what? Amazon's the #1 e-commerce site. So just by typing in buy a Lego movie, Amazon appears down here in the organic rankings. Because again, Google believes it's trying to serve its customers in the best way possible. And so you'll see a couple of examples of that. Searching for book titles, well, Amazon started out as a bookstore, online bookstore, so it's still ranking highly there. Whereas not ranking quite as highly on dresses, for example. Okay, internal search. So this is driving conversion. So now when you actually get to the Amazon site and you search for product, what are its search results like? And so we can look at their search results and say, okay, is it driving conversions? Are we seeing that, oh, that's a great product, maybe by the reviews? Are we seeing that it's on sale, maybe by the price? Is it Prime free shipping? That's in there. So it's all how they organize and display the actual content to you when it's serving the search results. And we can look at page design as well. And there's some reasons why you may want to look at the how Amazon does things. They do it quite well. Nice job of providing lots of pictures and things like that. Good descriptions. Here, driving conversion via ease of effort. That one click. Buy now with a one click. So that's amazingly easy. It's almost too easy. I don't know if you found that, but you click it and go, oh no, okay, well, it's done now. So you definitely, Amazon's made it easy for you to convert to a sales. And they also provide great information, great product details. The reviews that customers provide often will help conversion rates if it's positive, in terms of the positives. And they can look at complementary products and add-ons. And personally, I would say that this would probably fit more in enhancing the revenue and how much earned revenue from each conversion you have, but also gets you to add definitely additional products that you might like. So Amazon really has streamlined the whole process. Some websites you have to go through 6 steps to buy, but Amazon makes it really nice and easy. And so we'll go here to earning revenue from add-ons and upgrades. There it is again. And again from reviews, because most people that purchase higher priced products will actually leave reviews. And so the positive reviews, we actually up the average order value when we use reviews on our site. So more people, because they spent $100, $200, $300 on a product, are more likely to review that product than if they only spent $20 on an item. So that's a quick overview of Amazon. So feel free to read more about it, but I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and we will see you next week.